Hello, welcome back. So, I've seen, as I'm sure you've seen, the videos where it's like reading 1-star reviews of books I love, or like 1-star reviews of my 5 stars, or like something like that, which I still want to do one of those videos, but I'm waiting to reread one of my all-time favorite books before doing that video. But I also saw at least once the kind of flip side of that of reading 5-star reviews of books I hated. So, so I saw that and I thought, oh, that'd be fun to do as well. But there was really only one book I can do that for, and that book is Fire by Night by Lynn Austen. So before we really get into it, I just want to give for this video a spoiler alert for this book because there's no way to talk about this book and why I hated it without giving spoilers. So that is your warning right now. If you, for whatever reason, want to read this book, I would click off this video right now. Okay, so Fire by Night by Lynn Austen. This book follows two characters. It follows this girl who really wants to marry this guy, but he doesn't like her that much. Thinks she's I don't know, thinks she's not good enough, so she wants to prove herself to him by becoming a nurse in the army because this book takes place during the Civil War. So yeah, she wants to be a nurse to prove that she is better than he thinks she is. And then we're also following this girl who basically becomes Mulan. She disguises herself as a guy and enters the army. So they're following those two women. So for me, I mean, I read this at the time of in my I need to be drawn in to really like it phase, and I was not drawn in. Specifically, I thought like the story of the girl who's disguising herself as a man in the army. I thought that would be interesting, but no, her chapter was so boring. So there was that. So I didn't really enjoy reading this book. Draw in, need to be drawn in. But the main reason that I did not like this book was because of the romance with the girl who becomes a nurse. Was her name Julia? I can't even remember. Yeah, I think her name was Julia. Yeah, she has a romance, and that romance is legitimately problematic. So okay, well, let's get into why that is. So the whole thing with Julia's story is she's trying to become a nurse to prove herself worthy to this guy, and it actually does work. He does eventually ask her to marry him, but before that, there was a scene where Julia kisses this doctor who is in charge of her, and I thought, oh, I guess they'll end up together. Only to be reminded a page or two later that the doctor is married. So I thought, oh, okay, never mind. And then I started getting anxious because I realized, oh, perhaps there is still going to be a romance between the two. They wouldn't throw that kiss in for nothing, and that was right. They explained it away. It was like, oh, his wife is dead, so it's fine. And also another thing that I forgot to mention was that Julia, in order to, I guess, secure her position as a nurse, she lies about being married. She claims to be married. So basically, when this kiss happens, they both think that the other one is married. So it's like, yeah, that's not I don't like that. That's not good. But the thing that's a bit disturbing about this, it seems that I'm in the minority and that the majority of people who read this book love this book, which I'm like, yeah, I'm concerned. So, yeah, but like, here's the thing, like I can understand, but what I don't understand about this book is we're going to be looking at 5-star reviews of this book, and I just can't understand giving this book 5 stars because, like, I feel like if I read this book, and I feel like even if I liked the characters or the writing or at the time of this was drawn in, I feel like I wouldn't be able to give it more than 3.5 stars because of that problematic romance. So, if you give this book 5 stars, it makes me think that you think that's okay, which is concerning. So, well, we'll find out as we look at 5-star reviews. So, yeah, we're gonna get into that. All right, so before we get into the reviews for Fire by Night, I want to show you guys how you could do this yourself because there's a feature on Goodreads that I'm not sure everyone knows about that makes this process easier. So let's say you didn't really like Once Upon a Broken Heart. I don't know if you can see that. So what you're going to do is you're going to scroll down to, where are we? Let's get to, oh, wait. Oh, okay, wait, sorry. It's not quite. Maybe you scroll down. That's pretty much most people I've followed have read this. Oh, huh. Okay. So you're going to scroll down to the reviews, then it'll show the percentages of your reviews. But one thing you can do is you can click 5 stars. Like, I don't know if you can see that. It's highlighted. And then it'll only show 5-star reviews. So that is what we are going to do with this video. So let me quickly pull up Fire by Night. Alright, I'm on Fire by Night, and first of all, it's got percentages and the amount of people who gave this book 5 stars, and that number is 6,266 people gave this book 5 stars. Okay, let's just get into the reviews. Okay, this first review is a long one. There's a whole spoiler section, so we'll definitely go into that because I already gave the spoiler review. You know a book is wonderfully good when you still think about it weeks after you finish. I mean, I thought about it for a time after I finished it, but not for the reason you did. When you're still lost in its world long after reading the last page, and when the characters still cling to you as though they were your best friends, Fire by Night is just such a book. I mean, okay, to be fair, I didn't mention this earlier. I did like the girl, even though I found her chapters boring. The girl who disguised herself as a man, I think her name was Phoebe. I did think she was a good character, like kind of a voice of reason, but like everyone else, I became so lost in it, I was able to read it anywhere, regardless of my surroundings, everything else. But okay, let's try. Okay, try this. So she says she loved the first book in the series, which is Candle in the Darkness. Candle in the Darkness was a good book, I'll give you that, but it didn't have problematic romance. Okay, well, I mean, never mind, we're not gonna get into that. Quite possibly my favorite book of the year. The characters are real, relatable, human. They come alive as the story unfolds. I could connect, understand, and love them. Okay, so she describes the main characters, which, as I guessed right, is Julia and Phoebe. She said, do yourself a big favor and read this book. You won't regret it. And I might be regretting it. It's amazing. It has danger, suspense, battles, adventure, and romance. Not a good romance. The hero is unlike any I had ever encountered, and I found myself falling for him the moment I met him. And swooning all over the place. By the end, he just made me melt. I'm concerned then. Even from what I remember reading from that book, like he's not. I didn't quite like him even before. Okay. Now for the spoilers, comments for those who read the book. Let's get into it. The hero. Oh gosh. The hero. He was so hot. The hero. He was so hot. Okay. What even is his name? Because I even around the time when I first reviewed it on this channel, but I had already forgotten his name. So like, yeah. And it was so obvious he was falling for Julia the moment he saw her. Really? He was falling for Julia the moment he saw her, and that all his rudeness was only an attempt to keep her at arm's length. Cause he's got a wife. That scene when Miller dies, she goes and cries in his arms, so adorable, all while she's wearing a beautiful silk gown. Huh? I don't think I remember that. Okay, talked about the Nathaniel Green, which was the guy Julia was originally trying to marry him. I mean, yeah, he had his problems. I don't, but at least he was single. Okay, it seems like James is the name of the doctor. That kiss between Julia and James. Oh dear, please allow me a moment while I collect my scattered wits. They kissed, thinking that the other was married. What is wrong with you? I'm concerned. Oh, this next review's got a bit of a content review. Okay, appreciate. Or wait, what is in the content review? If you preachy spots skip them without losing any of the story, why are you reading? Huh? Okay. Okay, let's start. Before I begin, let me just say that number one, I don't usually like books that have two heroines and two heroes. I feel that it's somehow cheating and that each couple should have their own book. Um, Maybe you shouldn't be mentioning cheating. Just saying. If you gave this book 5 stars, maybe you shouldn't be mentioning cheating. Two, I detest spoiled brats. And number three, I hate it when a character I like. Okay. I thought it said lies, but you see, I still gave this 5, and that is because this is the best book I've ever read with more than one main storyline, and that clocks in 473 pages. How did she do it? Readers, I don't know. Best book? Really? But how do I know that she did a wonderful job? How often do we see a spoiled heroine who has actually done an about turn by the end? Not often. I guess? I mean, yeah, her character development, like, yeah, sure. Sure, but she fell in love with a girlish nerd! It's Liam Austin's absolute. Okay, it's kind of. Then the hero, he is my. Why did you keep calling him the hero? Then the hero, he is my favorite of all Lynn's heroes. His having a beard may have something to do with that, but I think it's just him. He's tortured by his past and cannot get past it, and he's got a wife! As for the other hero and heroine, I can't spoil it for you without saying anything about them. I kind of did spoil it earlier on, but I didn't read out loud. Okay, I just read a review. I'm not going to read this review, but then she tagged it as Little Romance. This is still, I wouldn't call this Little Romance. Like, maybe that's not what she means, but okay, I'm just going to skim over the next few reviews until I can find something I can really. Oh, okay. I'm not going to read this whole review. She said, throughout this book, I felt amused. Some of those witty comments had me giggling. Okay. Butterflies, Julia, and you know who, one of my favorite book couples. Ah! Uh-huh! I'm. Annoyed at Nathaniel, however, ironically, one of his sermons moved me. One of his sermons moved me to tears. Oh yeah, because the Nathaniel guy is also a pastor, so that's yeah. Read this book. Lynn's gift for storytelling really shines in this story, does it? And I know I'm going to keep reading it over and over again. 5+ stars. This next review said, this is at least 4th time reading this book. Reading it once was too much for me. Yeah, I don't know how much more of these I'm going to read, but this one's short. It says, impeccable use of the enemies to lovers trope with some Jane Eyre vibes thrown in for good measure. I mean, yeah, enemies to lovers, but it can't be enjoyed because they lied about, or one lied about being married and one might have actually been married. It's unclear when his wife died. Okay, I think that's enough reviews for me. I mean, probably should have said Sir Landy. I mean, if you do love this book, that's fine, I guess. I just want to know how you justify that. Like they kissed while thinking the other one was married and like all that. Like how do you reconcile that? What do you do with that? Like, uh, I mean, Some people might be saying saying that I haven't seen anyone say that because I guess I haven't imagined any pushback, but like maybe they say like, "Oh, it's fine because they weren't actually married or whatever." It's I don't care. They just love thinking that. So yeah, that's enough for today. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed my videos and all my rambling and weird expressions. So that is all. Goodbye.